I don't know really how to say this other than Invest 95L really exploded in convection over the last 6 hours. Let's pull it back. Yeah, no, you know what? Let's keep it at 90 frames. So basically, what I'll show you is that this is where it was. Um, we'll, we'll, this is where we about where we were 6 hours ago. Now, if you look at it now, as you can see, let's pull that up. That's how much better organized this has become. That's how explosive the system really became, and how well organized this became as well. So in the last 6 hours, it's fair to say that this invest literally exploded in convection at this point. There's really no other term to describe it. Like this. Alright, let's pull it back. We'll pull it back. Where we go. So yeah, there it is. This is where we were about 6 hours ago. Just for everyone to know. This is where we were 6 hours ago. This is where we are now. So this thing's pretty much exploded in basically convection, and as a consequence of that, the formation chance has gone up again, but this time it jumped up to 90%. But before we get into that, I'm going to read what the NHC has to say about this. Showers and thunderstorms continue to become better organized in association with an area of low pressure located less than 1,000 miles east-southeast of the northern Leeward Islands. Environmental conditions are expected to be conducive for further development during the next day or so, and a tropical depression is likely to form today or tomorrow while the system moves towards the west-northwest at 15 miles per hour. I'm honestly surprised that the NHC isn't calling it a tropical depression now, but judging, if we roll it back, actually, hold on, let's roll it back to 60 frames. Actually, let's roll it back to 40 frames. Yeah. So yeah, while this convection has really exploded, the center of circulation has started to get an act together. It started to rotate a little faster, but it just isn't quite there yet to label it a depression. So basically, back to where we were. The system is expected to be near the northern Leeward Islands on Monday and Tuesday, and interests there should monitor progress of this disturbance. Upper-level winds are likely to become less conducive for development when the system reaches the southwestern Atlantic by the early or to middle part of next week. Formation chance through the next 48 hours is high at a 90%. It has a 90% chance of development in the next 2 days. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if this developed at the rate that this thing is intensifying right now, at the rate that this thing is organizing. I wouldn't be surprised if this was a tropical depression in 6 hours. That's just the truth for you guys. That's just the plain old truth. So, the chance is 90% in the next 5 days. We're going to start with the intensity models, then we're going to go to the tracks. When it comes to the intensity models, take all of these models with a grain of salt. This thing is really ramping up right now. It's really organizing. And systems that organize very quickly like this, and if this continues its organization like this, they tend to become much stronger storms early on. So take all of these models with a grain of salt, because we don't know enough of what's going on. All we know is that the convection is really blowing up over here, and if this continues, it could well be a tropical storm in the next 12 hours. That's all I'm saying. It's too far away from land for hurricane hunters to get into this thing, but hopefully in the next 12 hours or so, it'll be close enough for it to do that. In the next 12 to 24 hours, it'll be close enough to do that, and they can figure out what is going on with this thing, because this thing really exploded in the last even the last 3 to 4 hours. So yeah, this thing's really ramped up. And honestly, it surprises me. The reason I keep going back to that is because just honestly, it's quite shocking to look at. And like I said, sometimes storms can really start to ramp up and then it'll start calming down for a day or two, and then once again, like I said, it'll start to really ramp up again and intensify into a depression or a tropical storm. Then eventually, if it's over the waters and good environment for long enough, a hurricane. This appears to be happening at this point. Am I saying this is going to be a hurricane? Absolutely not. But am I saying that this now has a chance of it? Yes. Even though these models have it at tropical storm force, take them with a grain of salt, especially considering how quickly this is organizing. Now, the tracks of where this is going, next 48 hours are the most reliable right here. After that, the models start to split. So the next 48 hours, this tends to go west-northwestward. 72 hours, the models start to split. The COTI has it turning early. The rest of them have it starting to turn right about here. Bermuda could see some impacts. And the other models right here have it basically turning a little bit later, potentially affecting the Turks and Caicos, while the HMNI has it moving to the south of it and affecting Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, which also has the HMNI at a tropical depression by the time it reaches the Dominican Republic. So this is just, at this point, it's too early to say what it's going to do. It's likely going to make that turn. The question is when at this point. The sooner, the better, because that's less impact for land, and that would be a good thing. So back to this right here. Once again, really ramping up right now. I've been keeping a close eye on it. I started noticing this at the last update, and what do you know? This continued, and look at how better in shape this thing has gotten. This thing's been working out, essentially, and it's not done getting its nutrients yet. It still has plenty of water. It still has very low wind shear to feed this system, and it looks like it's going to, at this point, at this point, it's basically just, like, it's becoming a much healthier system than it was. We're going to pause the frame right here, show you what's really going on. There's some minus 70s here. This is the center of circulation right here. So it appears that a core, like at least a little bit of a core, is starting to develop around it, but it's really too early to know at this point. I'm not sure, because because it's getting organized, but it appears that a core is starting to develop. A couple of separate cores are starting to develop, but it's just too early to call. Yeah, there's some minus 70s right here, minus 70s right here, minus 60s to minus 70s in this region right here. Yeah, same over here. So yeah, this thing's really intensified. We're seeing minus 60s over here. Yeah, minus 50s to minus 60s over here. So yeah, it's basically blown up, essentially. That's what this thing's done. It's exploded in an organization. That's all the words I can really put it in, because that's basically what's happened. So it went from this to this. This to this. So yeah, that's a sign of pretty decent organization and a pretty decent pace. I'm sorry about the frames of this sometimes. They're a little buggy, but hey, that doesn't matter. The idea is still there. If you're watching this from the Leeward Islands, Lesser Antilles, the Turks and Caicos, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Bermuda, keep a very close eye on this. This could go either way. It could just remain a tropical depression, or it could become a hurricane. Let's hope it doesn't do the latter. Let's hope it does the former. But at this rate, we could see it as a tropical storm by this time tomorrow. So I'll be keeping a very close eye on it. Be sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more updates.